Most people think their bank account is failing because of bad choices or a weak willpower. But the truth is a lot subtler and much more powerful. The people you hang out with heavily shape what you spend, how you prioritize money, and the slow leakage that keeps you from building wealth. Once you see how this works, you'll stop blaming yourself and start changing the environment that's secretly costing you money. This is Zero to Wealth, and I help people understand the hidden psychology behind money decisions so they can build lasting financial momentum, calmly, practically, and without shame. Today we'll unpack the real ways friends influence your finances, the research, the psychology, and the exact steps you can take to protect your future. Let me be blunt, friends don't intend to make you poorer. Most friendships are generous, fun, and supportive. But social relationships also carry pressure, norms, and expectations, many of them invisible. That pressure changes how we spend. Maybe it's the weekly dinners that everyone attends. Maybe it's the group that upgrades phones together. Maybe it's the inside joke about always going on a nice holiday. These small choices pile up and compound, often faster than your savings plan. Here's the important part. This isn't moralizing. This is biology, psychology, and economics working together. And when you understand the mechanisms, you can choose differently without becoming antisocial. We'll break this down into 5 evidence-based ways friends make you spend more, and why those effects are powerful. 1. Peer effects on consumption. You mirror what your reference group does. Economists find consistent peer effects on spending. When your reference group earns or spends more, you tend to spend more too. Studies using neighborhood and social comparisons show that people increase consumption when their peers' average incomes rise, not just because they can, but because the social standard changes. This is a documented, causal effect, not just an anecdote. What that means in practice: if your friends move into nicer places, eat at more expensive restaurants, or travel more often, your normal adjusts upward, and your wallet follows. 2. Social comparison and social media. Comparison is constant now. A decade ago, you compared yourself to a handful of people. Now you compare to hundreds, filtered, edited, and curated. Platforms reward showy experiences and haul culture, which fuels the impulse to buy and display items to fit in or feel seen. This trend is especially strong among younger generations who consume finance info and lifestyle signals online. Research and journalism on haul culture and social commerce document this new, repeatable behavior. Translation: seeing others live certain ways makes you feel behind, and one of the quickest ways our brains ease that feeling is spending. 3. The BNPL and low-friction economy. Spend now, pay later, emotionally. Buy now, pay later services reduce the immediate pain of spending. A recent empirical study found BNPL users spend significantly more, an average uplift in purchase amount of about 6% for adopters in observed datasets. When your friends start using these tools, the group norm shifts, deferred payments become acceptable, and the mental accounting that used to slow purchases weakens. That invisible spending adds up fast, especially when everyone in your circle treats BNPL like a normal checkout option. For lifestyle creep and hedonic adaptation, normal moves with your group. Lifestyle creep, the slow upgrading of normal as income grows, is one of the quietest wealth killers. Articles and financial reporting show how people who appear to have plenty still live paycheck to paycheck because their standards of living adapt upward. When friends accept higher standards, you're more likely to accept them too. Hedonic adaptation means last year's treat becomes this year's baseline. So a small increase in income or status in your social circle can translate to a disproportionate increase in your spending. 5. Money dysmorphia and perceived scarcity, feeling poor among the privileged. A rise in money dysmorphia, feeling financially inadequate despite reasonable stability, is tied to social comparison, influencer culture, and economic anxiety. This psychological distortion makes people spend to match perceived norms or to buy the feeling of belonging. Mental health and consumer psychology articles highlight this pattern and its harm to both mental and financial health. When you imagine your friends as uniformly better off, you're likely underestimating your own position and overspending to keep up. I want to share a short story, not because it's dramatic, but because it's painfully common. A few years ago I had a friend group where everyone gradually upgraded how they socialized. Brunch moved from cheap local cafes to pricier spots. Our group trip budget doubled, and birthday gifts became elaborate. None of it happened overnight. Each change felt small, reasonable, and social. But my bank balance said otherwise. The turning point was a quiet financial check-in. I totaled the predictable group expenses over 6 months. I realized I was effectively financing other people's social experiments. The number wasn't catastrophic, but it was consistent, and consistency compounds. Knowing the math made the problem visible. The behavior wasn't malicious, it was structural. Once I saw the structure, I could change it. That's the point of this video. Visibility breaks the spell. Once you map the patterns, you can act without guilt. How to protect your finances and your friendships. These are the practical, calm, non-judgmental steps you can take immediately. They preserve relationships while stopping the slow leakage. 1. Do the group cost audit. Write down recurring social costs tied to your circle for the last 3 to 6 months. Dinners, rotations for gift giving, trips, subscription shares, BNPL purchases done together. Add them and treat the total as a line item in your personal budget. Why it helps. Seeing the cumulative cost turns invisible habits into visible ones. Once visible, they're fixable. Example, if monthly group dinners cost $40 extra and happen twice a month, that's $960 per year, not pocket change. 2. Create intentional boundaries that are socially smooth. You don't need to quit your friends. You can be honest and tactical. Offer cheaper alternatives. Let's do potluck at my place this month. Set expectations before trips. I can't do a $2,000 trip this year, but I can join for the last 3 days. Use I language. I'm trying to save for X. This avoids moralizing others and focuses on your goal. Social dynamics change when you lead with clarity. People usually accommodate if you offer alternatives. 3. Add friction to group spending. Make certain costs slightly harder to incur. Remove payment methods from apps you use to shop socially, pause BNPL options, or require a 24-hour waiting period for shared purchases. Encourage friends to do the same. Small friction stops the autopilot. It's not about being a killjoy, it's about protecting your future. 4. Reframe status. Invest in private wins, not public signals. Status built through consumption is fleeting. Status built through optionality, savings, investments, skills, compounds. Instead of buying to show, buy to free. Fund your emergency account, automate investments, take a course that increases your income. When your friends notice you're less stressed and more available, money buys freedom. Social signals change in a healthier direction. 5. Convert social rituals into low-cost rituals. If your group's core values are connection and fun, not consumption, you can redesign rituals. Swap a monthly expensive brunch for a game night. Replace pricey group gifts with a thoughtful shared experience. Set rules for trips. Everyone brings one free activity. You'll be surprised how easy it is to maintain meaning while cutting cost. 6. Talk openly about money, gradually. Money is taboo in many groups, but norms can change. You don't need a dramatic reveal. Start with your own goals. I'm trying to save for a down payment, or I'm experimenting with living more intentionally. Transparency reduces assumptions and group pressure. If one friend models a cheaper, intentional option, others often follow. 7. Guard your time, not just your money. Often social spending is a function of trying to maximize social status within limited time. If you're short on time, you're more likely to choose expensive options that feel satisfying quickly. Prioritize low-cost, high-connection activities that actually deepen friendships. 8. Protect against BNPL normalization. If your friends use BNPL, normalize asking, can we split costs differently? Or just avoid BNPL for discretionary spends. Track BNPL balances like credit cards, treat them as real debt. Common objections, and how to respond. But I'll look cheap. Being intentional isn't the same as being cheap. You can be generous within your means. Friends who respect you will respect boundaries. I don't want to be the one who says no. You won't always be the only one. Often others are relieved to have permission to say the same thing aloud. I don't want to miss out. You'll miss some things, that's inevitable. But missing a brunch here and there is not the same as missing a decade of financial progress. Social environments shape behavior more than any single app, budget, or course. Peer effects are powerful precisely because they're invisible. They look like friendship, not pressure. But that doesn't mean you're powerless. Two truths matter. Visibility changes decisions. Once you see the cumulative cost, social spending loses its mystique. You can design your social financial environment. Good friendships survive boundaries. In fact, they often become deeper when money isn't the unspoken driver. Wealth isn't about hoarding. It's about optionality, the freedom to choose how you spend your time and energy. If friends are unintentionally eroding that optionality, the fix isn't moralizing, it's intentionality. If you found this useful, I post calm, research-backed videos about money psychology and practical ways to take control without radical lifestyle changes. Feel free to subscribe if you want deeper breakdowns and step-by-step templates for conversations and budgets.